Have you noticed that the more we force, the more things slip away from our fingers? As if the universe listens to our despair and responds with silence. Why is it that sometimes, when you insist too much, everything seems to stall? You run, struggle, debate, and nothing. But when you let go, when you finally give up control, something changes. Things start to happen. Coincidence? Or is there an intelligence behind it? Carl Jung believed that what is truly his does not need to be forced. There is a flow, a rhythm, a synchronicity that aligns people, encounters, paths, everything when you are in harmony with who you really are. But what if your effort is pushing you away instead of bringing you closer? What if this whole struggle is against a current that only needs to be followed, not won? Perhaps you have confused effort with merit. Perhaps you have been taught that only those who bleed conquer. But what if the real conquest does not come with sweat, but with peace? Stop and think. When was the last time something important happened without effort? That unexpected encounter, that opportunity that came out of nowhere. You didn't run after her, but somehow she found you. Why? What changes when you stop pushing and start listening, when it gets out of control and enters the rhythm? Perhaps what is lacking is not effort. Perhaps what is missing is alignment. Have you ever wanted something so strongly that it seemed impossible to accept, that it was not meant to be? Have you ever felt that bitter frustration, as if the universe had wrong address? But what if it was not wrong? What if what you wanted most was precisely the one that would keep you away from yourself? Jung said, "The soul attracts what is necessary to grow, not what the ego desires." This changes everything, because the ego wants now, wants visibility, recognition, applause. But the soul wants truth, wants depth, wants transformation. What if that no you received was a silent yes to something bigger, something you still can't see? We call it failure, but maybe it is protection. We call it loss, but it can be liberation. How many times have you thanked after a while for something that didn't happen? How many times went wrong was just the beginning of it really worked? The ego screams, it makes tantrums, it wants everything in control. But the soul whispers, and to hear this whisper, you need to silence the noise of expectations. Are you frustrated or just being redirected? What if life was not punishing you, but healing you? Maybe the question is not, why didn't I get it? But rather, what is this experience trying to teach me about myself? What does your soul want to show you, while your ego insists on fighting? Why so hurry? Why this urgency to arrive, to solve, to have everything now? Is it fear of losing or fear of trusting? We live as if time is our enemy. But what if time is, in fact, our greatest ally? Carl Jung spoke of an invisible courage, the courage to trust in the process. It is not easy. Trusting requires you to give up the anxiety of control. Accept silence between one step and another. Learn to rest, even when nothing seems to happen. What if that moment of pause is actually a preparation? What if that waiting so anguish you is aligning the invisible scenario where your life will be transformed? Have you ever thought that not now may be exactly what is saving you? But it's hard. The mind wants explanations, the ego wants guarantees, and the soul wants surrender. There's a mysterious force that acts when you stop struggling, when you start trusting. Trust is not passivity, it is presence. It is knowing that what is yours comes, not in your time, but in the right time. Can you endure this silence without giving up on yourself? Because sometimes what seems to end is just a break. What looks like loss is just transition. Are you ready to let the time act without rushing the miracle? How many versions of yourself have you tried to be just to fit? How many masks did you wear just to please, to belong, to be accepted? But in the end, what did you get out of it? Jung said that what is true only finds you when you are who you really are, not who you pretend to be, not who they expect you to be, but who you are behind the roles, poses, and defenses. It's cruel, but it's real. When you disconnect from yourself, everything around you also disconnects. Choices miss the mark. People go the wrong way towards you, and you try to understand why nothing seems to fit. Is the problem the world, or its absence within it? The truth is that what is yours does not recognize masks. The love that is yours, the purpose that is yours, the life that is yours, will not find you if you are hidden behind characters. Do you want to be loved? Be true. Want to be seen? Take the layers off. Want to be found? Come back. Authenticity is not about being perfect, it's about being real. It is when you stop acting and start to really exist. The question that remains is, do you have the courage to be who you are, even if it disappoints those who expected another version of you? Because only when you come home to your essence, life starts knocking on the right door. Who are you when no one is looking? Who are you when silence fills everything? Few people ask themselves these questions. Fewer still have the courage to listen to the answers. Jung called it the process of individuation, the way to become who you really are, not who you've learned to be. But this process is not easy. It is a dive, a meeting with what has been forgotten, repressed, abandoned. Do you think you know yourself? Then try to stop pleasing, stop seeking approval, and see what's left. This is the beginning of individuation, when the external life no longer realizes to fill what is missing inside, and then begins the real work, the invisible work, a silent reconstruction of your true self. It's not about reinventing yourself, it's about finding yourself again. When you go through this process, something changes. You stop running after it and start being found. What once required effort now comes with lightness. What once confused now makes sense. Because the world does not respond to your performance, but in His presence. And you? Are you willing to lose yourself to finally find yourself? Because only those who descend to the bottom come back up with a clean look. Have you ever experienced something so strange, so perfect, that it seemed to be written for you? An unlikely encounter, a message at the exact moment, an impossible coincidence. Coincidence? Jung called it synchronicity, events that have no logical connection but carry a deep meaning. They happen when you're in alignment with who you really are. It's not magic, it's coherence. When your mind, heart, and attitudes are in harmony, the world outside begins to respond. The right opportunities arise, the right people approach, the right doors open, not by force, but by recognition. It's as if the universe said, "Now yes, you have arrived. Now yes, you are ready." And when nothing happens, and when everything locks, when the doors close, when no one appears, perhaps the problem is not in the world, but in internal misalignment. Are you living what you believe? Are you acting based on your truth, or just repeating what they expect of you? Synchronicity cannot be forced. It is a mirror and only reflects what you vibrate. So, what are you emitting? Anxiety or confidence? Despair or presence? What is yours will not need to be pursued. It will only recognize you the moment you recognize yourself first. Before being found, you need to find yourself. But how do you find something that is hidden inside of you? Most people look out, want answers in opportunities, people, events. But what if the way is not there? What if the destiny you seek is actually a reflection of your inner state? Jung said that fate is not a fixed line, but a mirror of the soul. That is, you do not attract what you want, you attract what is. And being requires courage. Courage to look inside, to face what has been buried, to accept the shadows you have avoided all your life. Because the true reunion does not happen when the world changes, it happens when you change. When you listen to yourself, when you stop running away, But this journey is not comfortable. It requires detachment. It asks for silence. She invites you to undress from what is not yours. How many times have you felt that something was wrong? Even when everything seemed right, it is the soul whispering, "It's not here." Have you heard? Spiritual maturity is not in knowing more, it is in feeling better. It is not to betray yourself for convenience. It is to say yes only to what really makes sense to your essence. Then ask yourself, are you ready to dive? Because only after the descent is the ascent makes sense. And when it finally arrives, how do you know that it is real? How to differentiate what is yours from what only looks beautiful on the outside? There is a sign, simple, subtle, almost silent. It is called peace. Jung believed that what is true, what is deeply aligned with its essence, does not come with noise. It comes with clarity, with lightness, with a kind of silence that fills instead of weighing. Have you ever felt that? It's not euphoria. It's not that peak of emotion that comes and goes. It's a state. It's when you take a deep breath and feel, now yes. But the mind confuses. She has learned that conquest comes with effort, with struggle, with haste. So when something arrives calmly, she suspects, is that right? Yes. Because what is yours does not require begging. It does not require chasing, proving, begging. What is yours recognizes you. Peace is the sign, the absence of resistance, the end of doubt, the moment when the inner noise stops, because finally everything makes sense. Are you seeking peace or distractions to disguise your lack of it? Because while you feed on euphoria, you remain hungry. But when you find what brings silence, you find enough. So the next time something comes your way, ask, does it shake me up or calm me down? Because truth doesn't scream, it just comes. Have you ever wondered why sometimes life seems to pull the rug out? Why, before the new comes, we are tested to the limit? Life does not bring transformation without first requiring something from you, and what it requires is faith. But not that naive faith which expects the impossible without movement. No. True faith is confidence in the way, even when there are no guarantees. It is the courage to follow, even when the road becomes cloudy. Jung said that transformation begins with the descent. It is in the confrontation of shadows that true healing occurs, because it is when everything seems to fall apart that what is weakened comes out of the scene, giving space to what is strong, what is real. Have you been through this? That moment of crisis that at the beginning seemed the end, and then, in the silence, you realized, were you reborn? But life tests our integrity before bringing the new, and it asks for resilience. The strength is not in not falling, but in rising to continue, even when the forces seem to lack. It is faith in the process that sustains us, because true faith is not waiting for everything to work out. It is knowing that even if things don't go as planned, the path always reveals something new. Are you willing to trust in what's to come, even when you don't have a ready answer? Because the miracle does not come from following the right steps, but from being able to keep pace, even in the uncertainties, and so you become stronger, firmer, more real. And when what is to be yours finally arrives, how do you know it's true? How to recognize what was always yours, even if it took so long to appear? Jung spoke of the reunion, not of conquest. Because what is yours is not something you conquer, but something that is revealed. It is a reunion with what has always been inside you, but that life taught you to forget. And how does it feel? It's not an euphoria. It's not a win explosion. It's a calm, a feeling that finally everything made sense. The change in the external world is only a reflection of the internal change. What you have received is no longer a prize. It is a confirmation, a response of the universe to your alignment. a response to your vibration, and you realize that you never had to beg for it. The universe does not respond to your requests, but to their frequency. It is not your desires that bring you what is yours. It is who you have become. Have you stopped to think about it? What are you vibrating now? What are you emitting to the world, to the universe? Because when what is yours arrives, you don't fight anymore. You just recognize. True achievement does not come with effort, with sacrifice. It comes when you are who you really are, without haste, without fear, without doubt, and everything that seemed distant suddenly is within reach. So the final question is, are you ready to be found for what has always been yours? Because the universe already knows the way. Now it is only you to allow yourself to follow it. If this video touched your soul in some way, it is because you are ready for this reunion with yourself. Then let this transformation continue. Subscribe to the channel, enjoy this video, and especially do not stop here. The next video may be exactly the signal you needed. Because when you align yourself with who you really are, the universe responds. And here, every content is a reminder of that. I'll see you next time.